Hello everyone, my name is Panda, and I'm a recovering addict. Yes, I'm recovering from a crippling addiction to TF2, one that has wasted over 2,623 hours of my life, which, if I do a bit of a quick calculation, amounts to over 109 fucking days? What the fuck? Unfortunately, I've been relapsing into my old habit a bit lately. Though my mind, I think, is a bit fuzzy, as I don't quite remember TF2 being this 2D, or lacking in its many hats. Regardless, let's roll the intro and let this shit show commence. TF2D, otherwise known by its more common name Dungeon of the Endless, is a turn-based, top-down, roguelike, tower defense, squad-based tactics hybrid game, Jesus Christ, it took a lot, that puts you as a group of survivors from a destroyed penal colony ship. Your escape pod from this ship has ploughed into a nearby planet, blasting you deep into an abandoned research lab, where the scientists may be long gone, but the violent experiments are not. You're thus tasked with being the whitest knight in the land by opening doors, with every door opened revealing a new room and often spawning a huge wave of enemies for you to fight. You deal with these enemies by powering up rooms from your crystal, which is essentially your health as well, then building production facilities and defenses to expand your economy. The trick to the game comes from the fact that you can't power every room. And since enemies spawn from unpowered rooms you've opened, how you expand, where you place your squad, and what you build will decide if you find the elevator to the floor next time, or if the enemy will flood over you, murdering your entire squad. So there's a very interesting concept, and the game is certainly difficult to match its very dark and depressing theme. But its difficulty comes more from its obfuscation of information than anything else. If you want to win the game, you must essentially be prepared to put in a lot of trial and error, or look up wiki pages and tutorial videos. As a matter of fact, I might make one of those. If you're not a fan of such, though, you might want to skip Dungeon of the Endless, as you're going to have to put in a lot of time before you can actually beat the game. Production quality-wise, everything is top-notch. The pixel art both works well and looks good. The sound design is excellent and on point. Everything is just all-round good quality with no glaring faults. Though bear in mind, nothing is really too memorable, it's just very, very high production quality in general. So while there's not too much to talk about production quality-wise, when it comes to expressing the feel of the game, I've got a lot to say, and before I get into it, I need to pass along a bit of a disclaimer to you guys first. I was completely turned off by this game initially, yeah? With how absurdly obfuscated this game's information is and how much management you must put in to win the game on easy, it was really hard for me to properly cut my teeth on it, as it were. So if you want a game that isn't going to make you feel like you're ramming into a brick wall against progress, steer clear of Dungeon of the Endless. With that out of the way though, if you ever played Risk of Rain, which is a personal favourite game of mine, you'll understand the addiction and the feel of this game. In that, in both games, there's this dynamic of risk versus reward, where the longer you spend on each level, the more you can gain and the more you can progress. With every door you open in Dungeon of the Endless, you can get more loot, more resources, more everything. But by the same point, the game gets harder and harder and harder the longer you spend on each level and the more doors you open, because you, of course, can't power every room, and the more rooms that are unpowered, the more enemies that spawn to swarm you. And so there becomes very much a game of risk versus reward. As I mentioned, you got to decide, can you push your luck a bit more? Can you push the envelope a bit more? And it's very fun to do this. It's amazingly satisfying to do this, to be able to squeeze the very last bit out of a level before progressing onward. And this is very important too, as enemies, especially later on, can quickly kill your characters, especially if you push too hard or try and squeeze too much out of a level. Meaning the game is very much balanced on a knife edge, as Again, you can't power every room you open, and more enemies will spawn in these unpowered rooms. Though, this constant management, it makes the game not a relaxed one to play, let's be honest. In fact, it's actually a bit stressful at times, as you can't really absent-mindedly go through the game, because if you do, your house of cards will fall really damn hard. This, combined with how ungratifying powering up feels in Dungeon of the Endless, is what stops me from being interested, yeah? The game's mechanics function brilliantly, don't get me wrong, and it's a really clean, crisp, well-built game overall. It's a good game, but I just can't stay interested. I need something gratifying to keep me playing. This is just me personally, by the way, which in roguelikes will tend to be this power curve where you get more monstrously overpowered. I guess the general feeling I want is the one that I'm feeling like I'm breaking through and getting more powerful than ridiculously overpowered enemies. Whereas in Dungeon of the Endless, the general feeling of the game is more that you're just merely surviving rather than being able to ever thrive against the enemy. Even if you pick up all the upgrades, all the best items, all the best characters, you never feel unbalanced. You never feel like you've got the edge over the enemy. It always feels like with one more door open that you are going to get swamped more than you can handle. And there's a lot of appeal to that, but unfortunately it doesn't really appeal to me all that much. Again though, this isn't a bad thing. There's a lot of people who will love this kind of thing, and you might be one of those. It's a game that's very much always about barely treading water, and if you love that sort of thing, more power to you. If you love these oppressively hard games that you never feel like you're ever going to properly master the game, you'll find that in spades with Dungeon of the Endless. So yeah, it's a hard-as-nails, kind of obfuscated game that will probably interest you, even if it doesn't for me, yeah? If you're looking for a game more gratifying with its roguelike aspects, like I do, if you haven't checked out FTL, then you absolutely should. It provides this power curve where if you play your cards right and have luck on your side, you have the opportunity to grow overpowered as hell. Though, that being said, if you want a game that's more focused on the squad mechanics against hordes of enemies, a more lesser known game is Infested Planet, as it pits you as this almost Starship Troopers-esque band of soldiers fighting off endless hordes of enemies while completing some often absurd objectives. Regardless of your preference though, I hope you've gleaned some information on Dungeon of the Endless in this quick video. If you find me informative, a like, comment or subscription would help me out a long way. Otherwise, my name is Panda, and I would like to thank you guys very much for watching.